everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. It is the 2 p.m. show, and could Marcus Rashford be back at Manchester United in the summer? Maybe for a short while, but I do not think Marcus Rashford will be back at Manchester United permanently. However, the door is open on his side. Is it open on Ruben Amorim's side, and would it be open on your side? Get your comments in, get your super chats in, get your thoughts in down below. Would you take Marcus Rashford back, as the Cunha and Delap sales could rest on whether we can get the players like Rashford, Sancho and Antony out at the football club? But I have been away for literally only 2 days, and we're signing Cunha and now we're signing Delap, but Osimhen still could be on the table. I've literally been on the United Stand every day refreshing, thinking, what am I missing here? What am I missing there? I've been missing everything. So get your comments in down below. I can't wait to have my opinions on it, as the news has come out just recently as well that the Osimhen race is still on. The deal could still be on. Some details there. Is it relying on Champions League football? Are we trying to sort of double bluff? Are we in deals for Osimhen and Dilap and are going to pivot at the last minute? Where are we at? Obviously, we had the David Ornstein this morning saying that Cunha and Delap will be Manchester United's first signings. They want to get them done early. How do you feel about that? But Osimhen's still lingering around, and I think that gives hope to a lot of Manchester United fans who feel like we do need that experienced striker. I mean, I was just watching a bit of Osimhen before I did the show. That guy in the box is absolutely elite. We should be all over it. I don't even think it should be a question whether we get Delap or Osimhen. No disrespect to Delap, I do quite like him. But Osimhen, we should be all over that deal, and it worries me that we might miss out when it's a prime opportunity to go and get him. But get your comments in, let me know how you are. It's great to see you all. I've missed the shows, even though it's only been 2 days, but feels like 2 weeks, and we are back. Also, can I just say, with the Cunha and Delap stuff, Cunha, you guys will know, I always talk about him. I'm absolutely buzzing about that. That looks like it could be wrapped up literally within the next month, which is brilliant stuff. With Cunha and Delap, I want to say before I get on to Rashford, is absolutely refreshing and give, you know, the club credit where it's due, that we're in a situation in April that we could have 2 signings wrapped up very, very quickly. I mean, we didn't even know who our manager was going to be this time last season. We never move quickly in the market. It never feels like we know who our top priorities are, who our A, B and C choices are. This time, no messing about. Cunha, you're our first choice for number 10. We want to go and get you. Delap, whether you agree with it or not, you're our first choice striker. We're going to try and go and get you. And immediately, start of June, no messing around, no, oh, we have to wait till we've done the Rashford sale, we have to wait till the Sancho money comes in, we have to wait to see what happens with Antony. We are getting the 2 players in to bolster Ruben Amorim, and we are backing him straight away. This is what we've planned, and we're actually planning our summer, and we're getting plans in place before the transfer window actually opens, and that is refreshing, and that's something we've not seen at Manchester United. I mean, I can't remember the last time we saw us actually be organised and direct and straightforward going into a transfer window where we actually look like we know what we're doing, we look efficient, and we look like we're a competent club who wants to improve and wants to back this manager. So that's good to see. But even though Ornstein did say you don't need the sales immediately to go and get Cunha and Delap, we will need the sales eventually. We will have to balance the books, but we can afford to go and get Cunha and Delap and then kind of rely on doing the sales later on in the window. And Marcus Rashford has been factored in as one of them sales, but there's been news coming out from the BBC, there's been news coming out from Sky Sports, so it feels like there might be some sort of leak around Marcus Rashford, around where his future lies in the summer. So I've just seen a chat saying from Suspect saying, wow, Beth, slow down, nothing has happened yet, it's just talk. Nothing has happened yet, but Cunha looked pretty much like, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Cunha looks like it's near enough ready to go. And we've heard on this channel, and Ornstein's talking about it, Laurie Whittall's talking about it, there's quite a few people talking about it. We've heard on this channel that Manchester United really do feel like they are front runners for Delap, and if they want to get that deal done, they can. Champions League football is huge. I get that. Champions League football is huge. Cunha's willing to join without it. Delap does want Champions League football. He's got a lot of interest from other clubs. But if we want to get them deals done, we do feel like front runners in both races, and we're already doing the legwork on it. And that's the important thing that I want to take away from this. We've already done the legwork. We already know who we're going for. We're not suddenly, rushing in to go and getting Antony for 80 million in July. Sorry, not in July. In August, after the season started because we've had 2 bad results. Like, that's the difference here. Anyway, I also like the fact we're looking at Premier League players because we've missed that. Anyway, let's get into the Rashford stuff, and I can get into Cunha, I can get into Delap, and get into Osimhen a little bit later in the show. So this has come from Sky Sports. Marcus Rashford feels like the door is not completely closed in returning to Manchester United and fighting for his place. Rashford believes he could have a future at Old Trafford despite the situation this season, having spent his whole career at his boyhood club. Barcelona, among others, continue to monitor Marcus Rashford's situation. Rashford is not ruling out any options over his future and then will decide at the end of the season. Straight away, vote in the poll. Would you take Rashford back at Manchester United? Admin's had a nightmare with his keyboard there. Would you take Rashford back? Not the best grammar, but would you know what we're trying to say? Would you take Rashford back at Manchester United? Get voted in the poll now. Interesting, it's coming from Sky, maybe leaks from Rashford's camp, that he feels like he could fight for his place at Manchester United as he's got connections there. It's his boyhood club. I do not think Marcus Rashford has a future at Manchester United. Don't get me wrong, yesterday when he was playing for Villa against City, I wanted him to do well. When he was playing against PSG and all eyes were on him, I wanted him to score the winning goal. I want him to do well. I want Marcus Rashford to have a good future away from Manchester United. But his future does not lie at Manchester United. And I actually don't think, under any circumstances, he will be back at Manchester United next season. And I'll explain why I don't think it can happen. After the report came out from Sky Sports, came out from the BBC and Simon Stone, that Rashford feels like it is unlikely he will play for Manchester United again under Ruben Amorim. Not that it won't ever happen, but unlikely, but will not be rushed into making any decision about his future. Rashford has ruled out the possibility of moving to London and ideally would join a club that has qualified for the Champions League. Sources close to the player are adamant that Rashford is yet to have talks about his future and he's not planning to do so until the middle of June. So that also feels like it's coming out from either Rashford's camp or people close to Rashford that he's not decided his future. The door's slightly ajar at Manchester United, but he doesn't think he'll go back there. He wants to play for a club in the Champions League. Do you know how this feels to me? It feels like he's not 100% sold on signing for Villa if Villa do want to keep him and he might want to go somewhere else. Now, I think the club he wants to join and wants to go to is Barcelona. And I think it's always been Barcelona. Whether they can do that financially, I'm not sure. But he has always had talks with Barcelona. There's always been links with Barcelona. And them links are real. Ben Jacobs revealed it on an interview with the United Stand a long time ago that last November, Barcelona inquired about Marcus Rashford. There is a link there. Whether they can afford to do it, I don't know. But he's not going to go back to Manchester United. A few reasons why he's not. Ruben Amorim, the relationship is completely broken. He had his chance with Amorim. It didn't work. He's not going to get another one. Unless Amorim completely changes his tune, it's just not going to happen. He's not. I also don't think he's his type of player. Marcus Rashford absolutely has attributes. He's shown that at Aston Villa. He's doing really well there. I thought against PSG he looked dangerous. I thought yesterday against City, especially in the first half, he looked dangerous. He's got attributes. I just don't think they fit the Ruben Amorim system. He's not going to be a striker in Ruben Amorim's system and he's not going to be a number 10, especially bringing Cunha in. It's just not going to happen. So he doesn't fit Amorim's system. The relationship's broken down with Amorim and he's on over 300 grand a week. And if Manchester United qualify for Champions League football, which we're hoping and praying we are going to by winning the Europa League, his wage goes up even further by 33%. Manchester United want to get their wage bill down. There was suspicions he was being forced out of the club because of how high his wage is. And, you know, that Ruben Amorim was in on it. I don't think that's the case. I just think Ruben Amorim wasn't happy with the way he was training / his behaviours off the pitch. And that relationship broke down. So Manchester United, if push comes to shove and you get to the end of the season and no one's coming to Manchester United saying we want to take Marcus Rashford and we're going to pay you this money, if Villa don't, go ahead with their option to buy and no club comes to Man United and gives an offer, which I don't think will happen either, United will take a hit on the wages and they will take a hit on the transfer fee. They will just pay off his wages and take it on the transfer fee. That's what will happen. Because they could turn around and say, Rashford, you have to go. There's no plans for you here. Even though it'd be quite harsh, it's his boyhood club, they could do that. And Marcus Rashford will have to go because the World Cup is in 2026. We're in 2025 and Marcus Rashford wants to be playing football. He wants to get his career back on track. He's seen at Villa the plaudits he's getting. Like, he's going to want to go and play football elsewhere. He's going to want to play week in, week out. And I don't think he's going to get that under Ruben Amorim. And I don't think he's going to get that in Manchester United. But I think what his move to Villa has kind of solidified for a lot of people, and United fans, maybe Rashford himself, I'm not sure what he thinks of himself. Get in the comments down below what you think. And this is what I've seen. Marcus Rashford absolutely is a good player. He absolutely has attributes and he absolutely has talent. But it's very inconsistent when he chooses to turn it on. We saw against PSG, saw against City what he is capable of. However, even though he is talented and he is a good player, for me, right now, that's where the buck stops. He's not a Salah, he's not a De Bruyne, and that's what his wages demand. His wages are absolutely obscene. The top end of the spectrum. His wages are the wages of what a superstar earns. And I think that's how Manchester United and a lot of people built Marcus Rashford up to be. He's a good player. Do not get me wrong, he's a good player, he's playing well at Villa, and I think he'll be a good player for another team, a good team, and I think he's absolutely capable of playing for a Champions League club, but he's not a Salah or De Bruyne level, which is what clubs expect and demand if they're going to take on an over 300 grand a week wage, which is what he's got. So that's the predicament you're in with Marcus Rashford. He's a good player, he's not absolutely, off the scale. I've been watching Villa a lot recently. And yes, he got the nod in both PSG legs and he got the nod against City. Big games. I'm thinking, is that Unai Emery trying to tell the board, I want to sign this player? Unai Emery is clearly a fan of his and he's been playing up front as well, which a lot of Man United fans, including myself, I didn't think he was a striker at all. He's been playing pretty well for them up front. But, he's still not making the starting 11 every single game. He's still not the first name on the team sheet at Villa. I see Morgan Rogers plays every minute for them. Like, he feels like he's undroppable to Unai Emery. A lot of the other forward players, they get switched up and, you're on the bench, you're off the bench. For a player that's on 300, 350 grand a week, you should be on that team sheet. You cannot afford to leave me out every single game. And some might say I'm being picky, I'm being harsh. I'm not. He's a good player, but his wage demands absolutely top class. And that he doesn't deliver top class. So I'm glad he's doing well, and I think there will be clubs interested. There absolutely will be clubs interested, but they won't be interested in taking 350 grand a week for what he can provide, which is why I think we'll get into a situation where in mid-June, when Marcus Rashford, wants to decide his future, you'll have clubs knocking on the door, but Manchester United, if they want to get rid of him and they want to sell him, which I think they do because of the Amorim relationship and also because they'll want his wage off the books and they want to bring different profiles in, like Cunha, like a Delap, like even maybe an Osimhen, maybe an Mbeumo if we're lucky, who knows. They'll need to get his wage off the books. And they will still make money, Manchester United, because it's pure profit. 40 million is the option to buy in the contract with Villa. Option to buy, not obligation, option. If they take a hit on his wages, they will still make money. So that's what I think Manchester United will have to do. How I see it going is I honestly just see the Barcelona saga lasting all summer and dragging out all summer. Because I'm struggling to kind of pinpoint what clubs will go for him. And get your comments in down below what clubs you think will go for him. Because, God, sorry, I've got a cold here. My voice keeps going. Sorry, back of my throat. Because Villa might do. They might go for him. And I think Emery wants him. At first, I didn't think he would. But to be fair, Emery looks like he likes him. And Emery's got a history of getting the best out of players who have got talent but have maybe lost their way. I mean, look at what he's doing with Tielemans as well. Tielemans is playing fantastically for Villa. And I always thought Tielemans had talent. He was a good player, but he kind of lost his way a little bit and he's doing really well for Villa. Emery's got that track record. Emery likes him. Emery might be playing him over the likes of a Watkins because he wants the board to sign Rashford, but does Rashford want to sign for Villa? It's come out in that report, which feels like a brief, that Rashford's ruled out London clubs. Obviously, Villa's Midlands, so doesn't rule him out there, but he wants Champions League football. It's looking unlikely after that blow from Nunez in the City game yesterday that Villa will get Champions League football. So Rashford might not want to sign there, even if Villa do want him. And Villa probably need Champions League football to be able to afford him as well. So Villa's like up in the air whether he does permanently sign there. What other club in the Champions League is going to go for Marcus Rashford? I'm struggling to think. Barcelona. I think Barcelona would like him. I think he would play there. Obviously, Yamal is, absolutely insane, but there's room on the other side for him. He can play up front. He's proved that at Aston Villa. And Barcelona is his dream move. But Barca don't have any money. They had a hard enough job registering Olmo. Like, where are they going to get the money from to register Rashford? And his wages are big, and transfer fee as well that United will want. Will they be able to do it? Barca could win the Champions League, and that could make things very interesting in terms of the money they'll then have to spend, also in prime position to go and win La Liga as well. So Barcelona could end up having money come the end of the season. I think Barca is the most likely option, is what I'll say. But if it is Barca, it's not just going to be end of the season. Barcelona in for Rashford, happy days, money in the back pocket, Cunha money sorted, let's move on. It's going to be a long, dragged-out transfer battle in which by the end of the window, probably within the last week of the window, last 2 weeks, is when that deal gets wrapped up. It will not be a straightforward one. And I think other clubs could come to the table, but it's just, are they going to have the money what Manchester United want? And obviously United will be taking a hit on the wages. I struggle to see what other clubs. Outside contenders, Newcastle, I don't think they'll have the money to take him on unless United, again, pay off his wages and take a hit on the transfer fee. Could go there. Apart from that, Newcastle would be a great move for him. But then again, where does he get in? He probably would. Jacob Murphy's been doing really well. Gordon definitely plays. Isak definitely plays if he stays. Rashford's one to keep an eye on. It is an interesting one. However, I have seen Manchester United fans saying they'd take him back. I don't see why you'd take him back, because I've stated my reasons why I wouldn't take him. Broken relationship with Amorim. I feel like it's one of them where he can offer a lot, but he needs a different environment to Manchester United. I think Rashford and Man United can go separate ways, and United can be successful and Rashford can be successful. They're just not compatible together at this moment in time, and we should let him go. I think that story has come to its end. Still doesn't take away the fact he's a good player and can be successful elsewhere. Just don't think he suits what Amorim's trying to do there at all. And, I'm looking next season in them number 10 spots, you're going to have Cunha, hopefully. Xerxes definitely staying. And we might even sign another one, who knows? Cherki or Mbuemo, potentially. Maybe I'm being greedy with that. Bruno, Ahmad, Garnacho if he stays, Mainu. There's a lot of players that are going to be competing for that spot. Obviously, there's some moving parts there as well. Garnacho might go, who knows? But I don't see it. And I definitely don't see him starting up front. So I just don't see where Rashford would fit. But let me see what you guys have said in the poll. Would you take Rashford back, yes or no? I'm going to vote no and see what you guys say. Got some super chats in. We have Shane Matthews saying, Osimhen, Cunha and Ahmad, what a front three that would be. Shane, this is what I was saying it a couple of days ago on Twitter. I get there's a lot of positions that United need. All over the pitch, we need to improve. But if we signed Osimhen, Cunha, and then a good first choice keeper, only 3 signings, I would be happy with that. And some people say, well, we need more. We do need more, but Rome wasn't built in a day, and that starting 11 needs to be elevated. And them 3 players elevate the starting 11 massively. To be honest, we could do with a DM as well. We could do, especially, considering Casemiro isn't getting any younger. You can't just put everything onto Ugarte. You need someone to be able to carry the ball out from the back. Edison, I know we've looked at it, Atalanta as well. He's got great quality. But even just them 3 signings, they improve us massively. United, their main issue, and, you know, we still need, you know, improvements on the wing backs. You know, our defence could be better, but I think it's probably the strongest part of the club, of the first team anyway, apart from the keeper. But Manchester United's main issue is not being able to score goals. Cunha and Osimhen, it massively helps. And then obviously a keeper that isn't going to make consistent blunders would be good as well, in saving your points. So I'd be pretty happy with that. However, I do think it'll be Delap. I don't think it'll be Osimhen as much as I want it to be Osimhen. And when you talk about Osimhen, Cunha and Ahmad, what a front three that would be, I do think Ahmad will still continue to play in the front three. But I'm going to put this here, and this isn't groundbreaking. It's not a, oh my gosh, Beth, it's like, tell someone you don't know. You know when someone says something on commentary and they act like they've just broken something that nobody ever knew. And it's like, yeah, well, you're stating the obvious there. I've been thinking about it quite a lot because I think about United a lot in my spare time. And I would not be surprised one bit if Ahmad plays more games and more minutes next season as a right wing back than as a 10. Because I'm looking at the options we're going to have in them 10 roles, and we might even buy 2. We might buy 2. You know, you're looking at Ryan Cherkin. I thought he was very, very impressive against us, and I'd have to do more research on him, of course. I think he's got a £20 million release clause. You know, another player that would definitely elevate us. You know, a lot of people haven't been over the moon with Dalot this season. Don't get me wrong, I think Dallow's drastically improved within the last month, and especially since he's playing on the right consistently, which is definitely his best position. But Ahmad is so good from wide areas, and the options we might have at 10, I won't be surprised if you see Ahmad play that right wing back's role quite a bit next season, more than maybe the 10. And I think he'd be, as long as he's in the team, I'm happy. But I think he's fantastic there. I think he's probably played his best games under Amorim as a right wing back. He just fits that role so well. Fabian Burgo says he doesn't even start at Barca. He's not benching Rafinha, in my opinion. Oh, I forgot about potential Ballon d'Or winner Rafinha. Like, Rafinha's absolutely had a worldie season, hasn't he? And he's a fantastic player. He's better player than Rashford, in my opinion. And so that's an interesting take. But I do think the squad depth, and the thing is with Rashford, he can play across the front three. Villa is very different to Barca. Barca are a better team than Villa. Do not get me wrong. But I remember when he went to Villa, and a lot of people said, where does he start at Villa? You know, they've got Rodgers, they've got Watkins, they've got Ramsey, they've got, you know, people were saying that, and he's getting himself into the starting 11. So you have to wait and see. Ian Tracy says, we need to avoid trying to do a deal with Barcelona. It will drag on all summer and will be probably cancelled at the last minute. Exactly what I was saying. But if the player wants that move, you know, you also have to respect what the player wants. And I think Manchester United will respect what Rashford wants. And I think Rashford does want that move. He does want the Barca move. He wanted it in January. Simply Red says, how much can we get from Rasmus Sell? I don't know. I know there's clubs in Italy that are interested, but I think to balance the books, you'd have to get around 40 million, and I just don't see it, to be honest with you. But let's see. There is more murmurs around Højlund potentially leaving Manchester United, and that could open Manchester United up to getting 2 strikers in potentially. GP says, I'm calling my new ferret Mark after Goldbridge. Thank you for that information, GP. I don't know how I would have slept tonight without knowing that. I'm joking. Congratulations on your new ferret. Enjoy. Don't know what else you want me to say to that one. But yeah, that's the Rashford stuff. Keep getting your opinions in and keep letting you know what you think. The poll, nearly on 4,000 votes. Would you take Rashford back at United? 22% of you say yes and 78% say no. That's actually more saying yes than I thought it would be. I've stated the reasons why I wouldn't, and I just don't think United will do it. Honestly, again, not groundbreaking stuff, but I think I was one of the first people ever, as if it's something. Anyway, I think I was one of the first people to mention a potential Watkins and Rashford swap deal, if you would take that and if you would do it, because I was noticing, you know, Watkins was seeing the bench a little bit more at Villa, and Rashford was starting over Watkins in big games. Both PSG legs, Rashford started over Watkins, huge games. Villa's biggest games of the season. And Watkins was was a big part in the reason why they're even in the Champions League in the first place, you would be fuming. And Watkins came out in an interview with Sky and said he was fuming about being on the bench in them games. Then, he scores off the bench against Southampton, I think it was. He's looked pretty good when he's come on. In the City game, again, he's benched and Rashford starts up front. You would be frustrated, and if that was me, I'd be looking for a move, personally. I wouldn't be happy with it. Emery clearly likes Rashford. It was kind of obvious that was where the media was going to go to. Would you do a Watkins and Rashford swap? Few reasons why I don't think this will happen. First of all, Rashford's pure profit. You're going to want to get the money in from that in terms of PSR and FFP and balancing the books. So I don't think it'd make sense financially. Second of all, and this is going to sound, and there will be Villa fans laughing at me, there'll be other fans across the Premier League laughing at me. I could get clipped up and massively laughed at here saying, who do you think you are? Your two strikers have got a combined 6 goals in the Premier League, something along them lines. It's around that. And, Watkins is way better than both of them. And I agree. Watkins is absolutely, performing at a better level than Xerxes and Rasmus Højlund, 100%. And Watkins is a good striker. However, with Manchester United going into the market for a striker, I am going to be picky from now on about who we go and buy, because I want to be the best of the best, and we have to get it right. We need an elite striker. And I know that's hard to attract when you're currently, 14th in the Premier League, and, United at the moment look like a mess. So it's hard to attract an elite striker. And, Watkins might not even want to come to United. But the reason I wouldn't go for Watkins is because I think we need a striker that is Isak level. That's the benchmark. And a lot of you are going to say, well, Delap's not going to be Isak level. Delap's not Isak level. No, he's not Isak level yet. He might never get there. But he's absolutely not Isak level. I want someone who's going to be in that category. Osimhen, to me, goes into that category if we signed him. Watkins is a good Premier League striker. He massively improves United, but he won't be my ideal choice. He's also turning 30 this year. I think he's highest striker in the Premier League to miss the most, one-on-one chances or the most chances. I can't remember what the exact stat was. I was reading it a couple hours ago. So I do think he misses a lot of chances, and I think he's a good Premier League striker. I don't think he's top level, and he's turning 30 this year. I just wouldn't do it. I'd still move Rashford on, but Watkins wouldn't be the striker that I'd be bringing in. And you might think I'm nuts for that, but I want someone that's capable of reaching the absolute top of them heights, and I just don't think is. I think he's a very good striker though, and he's had a good career at Villa, and I'm not knocking it. And United would be better with him in the team, but now we're going into the market for a striker. I want an Osimhen. I want someone that's going to come in and be, one of the top strikers in the Premier League, and I just don't think Watkins is going to hit them heights at his current, age and everything he's got in front of him. Good striker though. Dilap is nowhere near being, one of the best strikers in the league yet, but at 22, he does have the ability to improve and develop and get to that level. But then again, you're going down the same loop, the same path you've gone down before, getting a young striker in, hoping they're going to hit the heights, and whether they actually will is a different question. However, keep getting your chats in. Keep letting me know what you think. The real Joey says, the only way I take Watkins is if we sold Højlund. Delap didn't come and we needed another number 2 behind Osimhen. Well, let me get you the news on Osimhen, the latest news on Osimhen, because I'll bring that in. Also, just a little bit of news here as well, which I think is really interesting to touch upon. And he's a younger player, and he's not going to make an impact anytime soon. But it is coming out, and please do not butcher this name, Beth. It's coming out from French outlets, and it's come out from Le Parisien, the French outlet, a good outlet. Enzo Cana-Biek has agreed to join Manchester United. He will spend next season on loan at Lausanne Sport. Lausanne Sport is owned by INEOS, by the way. So, think of that what you will. And we're signing him on a free from Le Havre, and Le Havre is the same team that we signed Pogba from. So that is quite interesting, to be honest with you. And again, this has Christopher Vivell written all over it. And it's really nice to see our recruitment team working together and working together well. It's something we've needed at Manchester United. To get back to the top, we're miles off it, but we have to have a plan in terms of recruitment, and we have to be competent, highly competent in the transfer windows. We cannot afford to make mistakes, and we have to get good young players in, as well as balancing getting experienced players in that are ready for the now. But we have been doing some good business in the youth market under Christopher Vivell. Chido Ob is one of them. Cunha, who we're yet to see, is one of them. Diego Leon from Paraguay, left-footed left wing-back, looks physically top. Coming in the pre-season talk, assess where he's at, is another good buy. Should be a good buy anyway. And now Enzo Canabic, 18 years old, is agreed to join United. He's just another one that has Vivell written all over it and is really exciting for Manchester United. Lausanne is the INEOS-owned Swiss team, so it's kind of like the feeder club, you know, send him on loan there and see how he does. You've got developments, you've got talents in the works that are going to be able to come in, hopefully, in a few years' time. And even if, like, 1 or 2 out of 5 or 6 end up getting into the first team or in and around the first team, you'll still make money on the others with recruitment and sell-on fees, and you're still getting, you know, you're still scouting them quality players early. And obviously, I'm not saying that this player is going to go on to be the next Mbappe, but do remember when Sir Jim said we want to make our own Mbappes instead of having to go and pay huge amounts of money to go and bring, you know, Mbappe in. We want to be making these players ourselves. And Christopher Vivell is doing a really good job in the recruitment of that, and hopefully we'll reap their rewards in a few years' time, and it's good to get the ball rolling. But of course, United fans now, because we're impatient and we want to start winning sooner rather than later, you have to go and get, in the transfer window, the good, top, experienced players to come in and elevate that starting 11. And like I said at the start of the show, this time last year, we didn't even know who our manager was going to be. We know Amorim's going to be our manager. We're already in talks for 2 of the top targets for the striker and for the number 10 in Cunha and Delap, the area that Manchester United needs to be improving the most. And as much as Dilap wouldn't be my first choice striker, it's 2 Premier League proven players that will improve this team. Cunha absolutely will, and Dilap will as well. It's just, could we be improved more by an Osimhen or a Gyökeres? In my opinion, yes. But Wilcox is clearly adamant on Dilap, and do you just have to trust your recruitment team? We'll have to wait and see, but get your comments in and let us know. But the news coming out on Osimhen, and it's looking most likely it's going to be Delap, but I'm still holding out a bit of hope that it could be Victor Osimhen. And here is why. So many reports coming in from Turkey that Manchester United have agreed terms of Osimhen. Also some reports from Italy as well. You've had another report out in the last couple of hours, and a few people in the chat saying, do I need some Lemsip? I think I do. Honestly, I've been ill for like a week now, but I thought I'd shaken it, but my throat is just... Honestly. You just feel like you've got stuff caught at the back of your throat. Anyway, I won't keep you waiting any longer. On the edge of your seats here. The Osimhen news is Manchester United are quite ahead in talks with Victor Osimhen, and an agreement on the contract terms now seem imminent. United intend to offer around 40 million, but Napoli want the 64 million release clause to be paid. I saw the 40 million reports yesterday. When I first saw them, I thought, absolute nonsense. His release clause is around 63, 64 million. There's absolutely no way he's going to go for 40. But then I looked at it. They're in a similar situation to what we're in with Rashford. The relationship's broken between Napoli and Osimhen. They need him to go. His contract, well, Rashford's got a contract for quite a while, but Osimhen's contract is up pretty soon. They are going to need to get rid of him, and his wage is big on their wage bill. So they might take a compromise on the fee because of the wage and because of their need to get rid of him. However, I don't think it'll hit as low as 40 million. I think maybe, if you're lucky, 50, 55. But even still, if United did go for it, I could see him paying over 60 for him. I do not see it being as low as 40, but there is some wiggle room there considering Napoli's circumstances. And look, I'd also be on the phone to Napoli saying, hello, Scott McTominay, who's absolutely killing it for you in midfield, is now your highest goal-scoring midfielder in a single season. You know, look at the deal you got for him. Scott McTominay, absolutely fantastic. Give us a little deal back, please, on Victor Osimhen. Obviously, it's not going to work like that, but I'd definitely be telling him, look at what we did for you with Scott McTominay. Do us the same with Victor Osimhen coming back. But what I can say is, I wouldn't believe any report in its entirety until it comes from tier 1 sources, and we've not yet had a tier 1 source say United are in talks with Osimhen, you know, they're looking like they want to do that deal. The tier 1 outlets, you know, Ornstein, are saying that United's top target is Delap, so it looks more like we're going to get Delap. However, Romano did say we're open to Osimhen, and you know, it's something that we would explore, and there's a lot of noise around Osimhen and personal terms. I do think United are interested in Osimhen, and I do think he is an option. I think Delap and Osimhen are probably the two most likely strikers that are going to sign for United in the summer. I just think Delap is way more likely, but Osimhen is still someone to look at, and still someone to... I would definitely not rule him out. Gyökeres doesn't seem anywhere near it. We've not been linked to Gyökeres at all in the last few months. No one's talking about it. Gyökeres is off the table unless something magically turns round. But Osimhen, I do think, is there and is lingering. And United could be playing a bit of a blinder. They could be putting it out there, we're going for Dilap, we're going for Dilap, we're going for Dilap. Win the Champions League, automatically there's more money in. U-turn, we're going for Victor Osimhen, now we can afford him and his wage package and the agent fees with him. They might be kind of playing them both. They might be talking to them both. You don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I would not rule Osimhen out, is what I'm trying to say. I wanted to have my say on the Delap stuff, though, and the Osimhen and the Gyökeres stuff. And I've got a few points I wanted to bring in. The reason why Osimhen is my top choice for a striker at Manchester United, and Gyökeres would probably be number 2, is you just cannot argue with their numbers. And they have experience levels. If you go for Delap, you are replacing an inexperienced striker with an inexperienced striker. Delap is better than Højlund, and his numbers are better, and he will be better than him. But there's no guarantees over it. And you get a Gyökeres or an Osimhen, and it's experienced, demanding strikers that are going to demand service from the wide players, are going to demand service from the midfielders in behind them, and have got the goal-scoring record to back it up. I mean, Victor Gyökeres, right? 16 goals and assists in the last 9 games, 48 goals in 47 games with Sporting, 57 goals in 53 games with club and country, and 72 goal contributions in 53 games in all competitions. I just can't quite put my finger on why United would willingly prefer Delap over a Gyökeres or an Osimhen, apart from the wages. Like, it couldn't be any clearer that we need the finished article, an elite number 9, now. We don't have time to wait. Delap's got serious potential. He's a good player. And don't get me wrong, I won't be upset if we sign him. I think he's a good quality player that has got a lot of potential. But we need the finished article now. And when you've got Gyökeres and Osimhen putting up these kind of numbers that are both going to be available for around 60 million, with the fees, Delap will probably rise towards 35, 40. It's still a great price. But for a little bit extra, you could be getting someone that's putting up ridiculous numbers that is ready to go now. I mean, Amrim's worked with Gyökeres. I don't know why we're not in for Gyökeres. Potentially because he's turned us down and he's got his sights set on a different club. Arsenal. There's a lot of talk about going to Arsenal. But you never know. Arsenal put a bid in for Ollie Watkins in January. If Watkins on the bench at Villa, Arsenal could go back for Watkins. Then where does Gyökeres go? He'll go somewhere. He's going to leave Sporting this summer. But we're just not linked to Gyökeres at all. Maybe he's turned us down. I'm not sure. But Osimhen, I think, would be open to joining Manchester United. Again, his stats, 35 games, 30 goals and 7 assists. It's obscene. And I saw a clip before we went live on the show. I think I said it before, of him just creating a chance out of this brilliant cross into the box, and the way he gets his head on it and scores it, it's going around Twitter, you'll be able to see it. I think I've quote tweeted it on my Twitter, at BethTMUFC, if you want to go and have a look. We're just not used to that elite in the box movement. He's fantastic in the box. You know, he's good at bullying defenders. He's fast. He gets in behind really well. I think he'd suit the Premier League fantastically, Victor Osimhen. And he's there and he's available and he will move in the summer. His relationship with Napoli is broken. Yeah, he's on quite a big wage, but if he delivers, I'm not bothered. And he's a player that is going to deliver you 20 goals a season. Like, I just don't get why he wouldn't be our first choice, unless it is just down to not wanting to do the wages, agent fees and money. That's the only way I can see it. However, I don't want to be negative on Delap, because I wanted to say this on Delap. I've seen a lot of people, you know, saying, oh, we don't want Delap, we don't want Delap. Delap is absolutely an improvement on what we have. Absolutely an improvement on what we have. I think it's just because Osimhen and Gyökeres are both there and available for a great price, around 60 million. United fans just can't understand why you're not going for them, because of their experience levels and their numbers and what they're going to be able to, how they're going to be able to impact the team straight away. However, Delap is a solid signing, I will say that, and he is an improvement on what we've got. I think a lot of people have been scarred by the Højlund deal, and people think we're just signing another Højlund. That is not the case. It is different. It is different, and you can't just tar him with the same brush because Højlund didn't work out. And I feel like straight away, if Delap doesn't get off the mark straight away, everyone's going to be like, oh, we've just signed another Højlund. Oh, we've just signed another inexperienced young striker that isn't going to be anything. It is different. The reason why it's different, well, Delap is Premier League proven. 35 games, 12 goals, 2 assists. Obviously nothing on what Osimhen and Gyökeres are doing numbers-wise, but he is playing in the toughest league in the world. And that's more goals than Højlund and Xerxes combined this season. And he's playing for an Ipswich side that are going to be relegated and don't score many goals either. So he is a massive improvement. Also, 30 to 40 million compared to 72 million is, money-wise, just completely different as well. Dilap will have resale value and, you know, he's got potential. I think INEOS probably see him as the heir to Harry Kane in the number 9 spot for England. Whether he hits these heights and whether he can at United is yet to be seen. It is a risk. It's a massive risk. It's a massive risk going for Liam Delap. And to me, I mean, I've said it on the show a million times. I know people are fed up about it. You know, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You are going for another inexperienced striker and putting a lot of pressure on his shoulders. A lot of pressure. They've just got to hope it works out. But if we do sign him, I will back him. And he will be an improvement. And he has got qualities. And he is better than what we've currently got. A lot better. So I wouldn't put him down too much. It's just there is, for me, better options out there at a very good price where I'm like, why are we not doing that? I don't get it. But Delap absolutely is an improvement on what we've got. And I think people are putting him down quite a lot and not giving him credit for the striker he is. He's got attributes and I think he's got a great career ahead of him. Ivan says, Gyökeres is better off the ball and has a better engine, a more humble personality as well. That is what we need. We're not going to get him. We're just not going to get him. So I don't think, like, we'll talk about Gyökeres. I'd love him at United. We're not going to get him. We've not been linked to him for months. Unless something drastically changes, I just don't see it. Whereas Osimhen, there generally is a chance. And to be honest with you, the reason why Osimhen's my top choice over Gyökeres, and I take both in a heartbeat. Like, I wouldn't be sat here crying my eyes out because we've got Gyökeres over Osimhen. Looks like we're probably not going to get either of them. But the reason why Osimhen would be my top choice is I've watched more of him. And for me, I feel like he's been doing it for a longer period of time. That might just be because I've seen more of Osimhen. But Gyökeres, obviously, he's killing it for Sporting. Jason Hanna says, what if Delap goes to Chelsea and Osimhen goes to Saudi? Where does that leave Manchester United? That leaves Manchester United in a pretty sticky situation, to be honest with you. We do consider ourselves front runners for Liam Delap. I think United are quite confident they will get him over Chelsea. But if Chelsea gets Champions League football, Delap might very quickly pivot to going to Chelsea. The thing is, if Delap goes to Chelsea, is Chelsea buy so many players. It's like you're never guaranteed to really get that game time and solidify your place. They have Nicholas Jackson, who is actually a decent striker and will provide some competition. United, if you sign for United, you're starting. You're starting over Højlund, and to be fair, Xerxes has come a lot better, but again, I think a lot of people say they prefer him in a number 10. I think Osimhen would I don't know, I'm just putting myself, I think Osimhen would prefer to go to United than he would do to Saudi at this point in his career. I think it'd be a waste for him to go to Saudi, and that's no disrespect to the Saudi Pro League. I know they're trying to build something over there, and they've managed to sign some really good players. Duran, others that have ended up going there as well. But I think he'd want to try the Premier League. I don't know, maybe Ekitike, but Liverpool looks like they want to go for Ekitike, and I think Newcastle have been linked to him as well in case Isak does go. The striker market is going to be super interesting this summer. There's so many domino effects. Arsenal favourites to get Gyökeres, but could they pivot and go for Watkins because Watkins is unhappy at Villa? Then where does Gyökeres go? You also have the fact that Liverpool are going to try and go and get Isak, and they have got money to spend. If Newcastle get Champions League football, will they even put a price on Isak, or will they just put the foot down and keep him? What if Liverpool offer stupid money? We know they've got it there. They put a bid in for Caicedo for 150 million. They didn't spend last summer. They're going to win the Prem. They've got money to spend. Will Newcastle then let Isak go to Liverpool if that happens? It's a possibility. I think it's unlikely that Isak moves, but it is a possibility. Then do Liverpool go for Ekitike? If Isak moves, then Newcastle go for Ekitike. Delap, looks like Chelsea want him, but Chelsea changed their mind, like the wind, and could they pivot to a different player? United, looks like Delap's their front runner, but could he go to Chelsea? Osimhen, is that real? Is there actually legs in that? If Watkins ends up at Arsenal, could United suddenly pivot for Gyökeres, and could Gyökeres end up United? There's so many different scenarios of what could happen with the strikers this summer. It's going to be a really interesting transfer window. But Ornstein did say that United want to get things wrapped up sooner rather than later. So June 1st, I will be there and I will be waiting. Alan Casey says, Beth, your team 25-26. I think it's hard to put together a starting 11, to be honest with you. I think I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a little bit longer to put together a starting 11 for 25-26. I need to know some clarifications over where Manchester United absolutely going in terms of how many signings and which positions. Cunha's going to be in there, obviously. Whichever striker we get, hopefully Osimhen will start up front. The other 10 spot is up for debate. Is Bruno going to play in the 10? Is Bruno going to play in midfield? Is Ahmad going to play wing back? Is he going to play in the 10? They're all questions that need answering. Centre-back wise, I see it being 3 centre-backs we already have. Goalkeeper, I've not got an absolute preference that I want to go and get, but I do want to sign a first-choice goalkeeper, I'm going to be honest, or at least someone who can compete with Onana and take his spot. Class of 99 says, was Ruben hasty with Anthony? Also, Casemiro due an apology. Was Ruben too hasty with Anthony? I don't think he was. I think Anthony had a lot of time to show what he could do in a United shirt. He didn't get much time under Amorim, but he did get some time. Anthony, again, is on quite a big wage, which I think played a factor and played a part. What I will say is I wouldn't have minded having Anthony around. Purely because I think he can play wing back and he can play 10 and he's a ball carrier. He wasn't good at United. But in hindsight, I'm glad he's gone off on loan, because what he's done is you don't want players to go off on loan and flop and then you've got nowhere to go. We wanted Anthony to do well. He's gone off on loan at Real Betis. He's done really well, and now there's clubs interested in him. That's good. We will get some money back for him. We won't get 80 million. But it was looking like before he went out on loan, we struggled to get 20. Now you could end up getting 40 million for Anthony. Who knows? We'll definitely get a decent chunk of money. So I don't think we were too hasty. Ideally, would we have liked more attacking options in the later end of the season? Yes. But I think Ruben Amorim knew that January is the most power he'll probably ever have as United manager. And he kind of just took the consequences of not having many attacking options to get rid of players he doesn't really see part of his plans, Rashford, Anthony. And although we could have done with them players, because we've not had many attacking options, Amorim wanted them out because he wants them to go at the end of the season. He doesn't want them to be part of the season next season, and he took his opportunity. So no, I don't think it was. And if he doesn't see a future for Anthony, which he clearly doesn't, even though he probably would be quite versatile in this team, I think it was the right thing to do, to put him on loan, and it's worked out well because he will leave and we'll get a good fee for him. Casemiro due an apology. Casemiro's done really well, right, in the last couple months, but let's not be too hasty. He's our highest paid player on 350 grand a week. I'd expect him to do pretty well. Also, the Europa League is slower, and that is why this team performs better in the Europa League. Ruben Amorim has literally said himself that the Europa League, he can tell a difference between the Europa League and Premier League games. Our team is miles better than the Europa League. The Premier League is higher quality, there's better teams, and it's more difficult. And so Casemiro, playing in the Europa League games, he's done well. It's a slower pace. He's used to that kind of, he's used to them European games. I think he could do a job. In the Premier, he's done pretty well too. Like, do not get me wrong, but there's no future in it. So I don't think he's deserved an apology because he's on 350 grand a week. His job at United is to perform. Like, he's performing. I'm happy. I will give him his flowers where his flowers are due. We are through in the Europa League, and if we do win the Europa League, it's mainly due to him. 3 brilliant pieces of play to get us over the line against Lyon. So he's done really well. I'll give him credit. I'll give him his flowers. I'm happy with his performances, but let's not over-egg the pudding. Ben Dover says, if Amorim got sacked, who would you rather have, Southgate or Big Sam Allardyce? What a stupid super chat. Like, sorry, Ben. Sorry, but like none. Obviously none. If, fold the club. Like, it's just not going to happen. Evan says, I've done that one. Thank you, everyone, for your super chats and the comments you are getting in as well. Let me have a look if there's any that I have missed here. I don't think there is. Last but not least, yeah, I know the name Bend Over. I just say it now. Not bothered. Not bothered. Not bothered. You've not got me because I knew it when I was reading it. There's other ones that are a lot worse than that, which I won't say because, yeah, I'm not getting clipped again, or maybe I will end up getting caught out at one point. But yeah, Ben is a regular. Maybe it's just his name. Maybe it's just really unfortunate, and that is his name, and he's kind of just got to live with that his name is Bend Over. And, everyone laughing in the chat that he's trying to troll. Maybe it's just his name, and that's something that, you've kind of got to take into consideration. Simply Red says, Ruben admitted he's now learning to play certain players. Yeah, he said that, and he's learning that, and I think that shows the confidence Ruben has in himself and how much he believes in himself as a coach, that his pride has allowed him to come out and say, I've realised now how to play certain players and I didn't at the start. That takes real courage to come out and say that and admit that. So I really like that from Ruben Amorim, and he's definitely done that with Casemiro. So Casemiro's also, if I do think Casemiro will see out his contract. I think everyone says he loves United. You can tell he loves United. I think he does. He also probably loves his pay packet at the end of the week, 350 grand. I don't think he's going to kiss goodbye to that in the summer unless there was a really, really good offer in. His family are settled in Manchester. I think he'll see it out. And I was going to say is the way he's played recently probably improves the amount of clubs that maybe come in for him, but no one's going to pay 350 grand a week, and I don't think Casemiro will take a wage cut, so I do think he will stay. Ben has confirmed in the chat that sadly that is his real name. Thoughts go out to you, Ben, but you know what? It's a conversation starter. Proper conversation starter, that. So you can use it to your advantage. Simply Red says, I've done that one. Thank you very much. Last but not least on the show, going for nearly an hour, because you can tell I've been away for a couple of days. Lem sip on tap after this, by the way. I'm very sorry about my voice. This is not how I usually sound. I feel like I'm choking. Last but not least, I just wanted to have a little say on Cunha. And the notes that I wrote have disappeared, but I don't need them anyway. Cunha looks like Manchester United are at the front of the race to sign Cunha. Absolutely buzzing about it. I've talked about it multiple times on the shows for the last God knows how many months. I think it'll be a great signing for Ruben Amorim. The one thing I wanted to say is, I still will be, like, do not get me wrong, I am buzzing with signing Cunha and I want to sign him. So I've got to be very clear about that because people can so often twist your words and take it out of context. I'm very happy with signing Cunha. I would love to sign Mbeumo as well. And if I saw Mbeumo go to, Newcastle or, I don't know, another side for what, 45 million quid and United missed out, I'd be gutted because at 25, he also is fantastic. His numbers are absolutely brilliant. He scored 18 goals in the Premier League this season. That's more than in a season than Rashford has in his entire career. And I'm just comparing that because Rashford gets labelled as his superstar and Mbeumo is just absolutely killing it. He's such a good player. And his runs in behind the defence, I just can picture Bruno Fernandes threading and then passes through. And then Mbeumo, going through onto goal. He's been fantastic for Brentford. And there is murmurs about, him leaving Brentford and him being available for a decent fee. So I would be gutted if we missed out on him. And maybe that's me being greedy. I always said Cunha and Mbeumo were like my top two for the number 10 roles. They are different. Cunha is more versatile. Cunha plays on the left side, which is where Manchester United are in desperate need of, a left-sided attacking midfielder. Mbeumo is more of a right-sided player, and you've got to think we do have Ahmad. But could you just imagine Mbeumo and Ahmad on that right-hand side, Mbeumo on the right, right-sided 10, and then Ahmad bombing on as right wing-back, and then Cunha on the left? Oh my gosh. We would go from being one of the worst attacks in the league to one of the best, especially with Osimhen up front as well. Obviously, it's like I'm playing FIFA career mode here. I get it. We don't have much money. We're in 14th. We're not going to be able to get everything. And then Mbeumo probably wants to go and play for a Champions League club or, at least a club in the top half of the table. But both of them would be an absolute dream. I don't think we will get both. I'm happy with Cunha, very happy with Cunha. And if I had to pick one, I honestly don't know who I'd pick. I think they're both fantastic. I think they're both having fantastic seasons. Cunha probably fits more of what we need in terms of the squad. Can also play as striker as well. But Mbeumo, I just think he's gone under the radar. He's very pacey at getting in behind as well. The versatile, the balance of them two, as your 2 10s, by the way, the balance would be so good. Like, Mbeumo making them runs in behind, Cunha, his ball carrying, it'd be fantastic. So if Mbeumo is available, United, go and show some proper ambition. A new front three going into next season would be. And then people will say, oh, what happens to Xerxes? What happens to, Mainu, Ahmad? Ahmad can play right wing back. Mainu's going to get game time. You need a squad. You need depth. Bruno, we've seen, is played as a deep line midfielder under Amorim. Like, you're going to need depth. And that's two Premier League players in Cunha and Mbeumo that just elevate this team massively, massively. Clayton Daniel says, hi Beth, realist... Oh, fire alarm. That's United saying no, we draw the line. We don't have the money to get them both for you, Beth. We're already going getting Cunha. You've been banging on about Cunha for months. We're already going getting him. Now you're being greedy and you want Mbeumo as well. It's United saying no. Clayton says, hi Beth, realistically, what can we do this summer? Does it all depend on Europa? Don't think it all depends on Europa. But I wouldn't be surprised, and this won't leak out, that United are going all in for Delap, because if we don't get Champions League football, he's the cheaper option. If we win that Champions League, I wouldn't be surprised to see reports around Osimhen accelerate. I would not be surprised. I think Cunha we can get with or without. Other signings then become difficult. If we get Champions League football and we win Europa, we're looking a lot more comfortable in the transfer window to go and get first choices and maybe an extra position as well. But thank you, everyone. I've been going on for an hour now. That fire alarm was telling me to stop. Honestly, it's the afternoon show and I've been going for an hour. Sorry about that, everyone. Hit a like on the video. It's been fantastic. Great interaction. Shout out to Bendover. Best super chat of the show. And thank you, everyone, for watching as well. Really do appreciate it. Get all your comments in down below. Your thoughts on Rashford, your thoughts on the striker situation, your thoughts on Cunha, maybe your thoughts on Mbuemo. Let me know all your thoughts. Also, the recruitment team, do they deserve a bit of credit for getting the ducks in a row and acting like a bit of a competent football club? It's nice, it's refreshing, credit where it's due. But thank you for watching, everyone. Bournemouth coming up shortly, and then it's the big one next week in Bilbao. Absolutely cannot wait. Have a great rest of your week. I will see you tomorrow, and thank you for watching.